How would you react if your husband told you your mother smells like a he-goat? Oh, if you are the husband, would you be able to say such? Would you be like Shola and Collins, who married in the most peaceful place ever, in space, high up in the sky? So anyone would expect the marriage to be nothing short of heavenly. But why was she storming out in the middle of the night with her belongings? It's simple. Collins said Shola's mother smells like a he-goat, and that too to his friend. The audacity. When Shola and Collins met on their way to London a year ago, love was flying in the air. Shola, with a radiant smile and sparkling eyes, was reading a book. Collins, sitting next to her, couldn't help but strike up a conversation. They talked about everything: life, dream, and love. By the time they landed, they felt like they've known each other forever. 7 days later, on their flight back to Nigeria, Collins proposed. The idea of wedding in the sky seemed magical, and Shola said, "Why not? Let's do this." That same hour, they exchanged vows surrounded by the clouds, feeling like they were on top of the world. The first few months was like a dream. They shared everything, from the simplest joys to the deepest fears. Collins was always gentle and caring, making Shola feel like the luckiest woman alive. Collins never got tired of reminding Shola how lucky he was to have found her. Shola would smile, resting her head on his chest. "I feel the same way, it's like a fairy tale." They cooked together, laughed at silly jokes, and planned their future. It was months of pure bliss, and they thought nothing could ever change that. Then, Christopher came into the picture. If Shola could put her head on a spike, she wouldn't hesitate to take Christopher's head. His presence seemed to change everything for her and Collins. Christopher is Collins' childhood friend, and he had just returned back to Nigeria after years abroad. He was the type that could fit in anywhere, the life of the party, and this was a total turn-off to the introverted Shola. Their personalities clashed. They had absolutely nothing in common. If anyone needs to take the blame for her moving out of her husband's house, Shola would point at Chris. Shola just didn't feel good about him at all. Maybe she's paranoid or reading too much into it. But Chris had a way of influencing Collins, making him stay out late and spend less time at home. Also, she once heard Chris telling Collins not to be too accommodating of her behaviors and handle his wife like a proper African man, whatever he meant by that. Since then, Collins had become more irritated and demanding, especially in bed. He complained every day about a lack of enthusiasm and interest during the course of the action. "You just lay there like a log of wood," he had said. And Shola had told him several times that she doesn't like sexual intimacy much. Satisfying her desires had been a struggle on her part too. Collins had always understood this and never pressured her. But like she said, he had changed. And Shola was sure it was that Christopher guy's fault. Damn him. Complaining about this to Collins only made everything much worse. The gap between them grew wider every day, and Shola had contemplated many times whether she should stay or leave. But no, in case you're wondering if she moved out because of these little misunderstandings, no. That was not the reason. It was this. Now, let's dive into the details of the battleground, shall we? It started a month ago. Shola had a miscarriage. It was heartbreaking indeed. She was going through a depressing stage, and her mother had come from the village to help her recover. But then, she noticed Collins avoided her mother like a plague. After driving her mother home from the park, he rushed inside, took a bath, and left just like that. He came back in the middle of the night and left before Shola woke up in the morning. This happened for days. He was only talking to her on phone. Whenever Shola tried to talk about it, he avoided the topic and assured her all was fine between them. Shola's mother also noticed Collins' behavior and felt unwelcome. She asked her daughter, but Shola told her he was busy. "Is it something I did?" Shola's mother asked, looking hurt. "No, Mama, he's just busy," Shola replied, forcing a smile. What else could she tell her mother? She herself couldn't understand why Collins was acting this way. She questioned herself all day. Was he angry about the miscarriage? Did he blame her? Is he cheating on her? Is he perhaps bisexual?
Could Chris be his side chick?
No, that doesn't make sense. Scratch that. Has he perhaps stopped loving her? She had so many questions, and Collins wasn't giving any answers. But last night, she intended to get answers, whatever it took. Shola traced the intricate pattern of her dress, She had dressed specially for their first wedding anniversary, decorated the whole house, prepared a 9-course meal, and planned a pleasant surprise gift as she waited for Collins. She had sent him a message telling him she was going to divorce him if he didn't come home to celebrate their anniversary together. She looked at him through the window as he drove in and entered the house looking nothing like someone in the mood for celebration. Shola hugged him, wished him a happy anniversary, but he ignored her, refused to eat despite her persuasion, and went straight to bed. "What's wrong with you? Why are you so distant?" Shola asked. But Collins simply replied, "The smell of some village people is enough to fill me up for the next 100 years. Shola seemed more confused than ever and thought he was probably speaking in parables. She left the room angrily, but later that night, after she calmed down, she decided to talk to him again. But when she got to the door, she overheard Collins telling Chris on the phone that her mother smells like a he-goat. "Guy, it's unbearable to think I married into this family. I don't want to come home these days. What if she starts smelling too or our children inherit it? Oh my God," Collins said. To make matter worse for Shola, she heard Chris laugh out over the phone and Collins joined in too. Shola had never been so angry. Their few fights over the months was just a teaser. She was bringing the house down tonight and she meant every word. "You imbecile of the highest order! How dare you mock my mother? Who the hell do you think you are?" Shola said, storming through the door. Collins looked at her, casually dropped his phone and replied, "First, you called your husband an imbecile. Second, you asked your husband who he is. Do you have dissociative identity disorder? And you forget you're married. Third, saying the truth can be considered mockery." "First, I called you an imbecile because you behave like one," Shola replied back. "Second, I am reconsidering the fact that you deserve to be called my husband. Third, you are very stupid for saying that about my mother. Doesn't your mother smell like gutters? Anytime she passes by the living room, the whole house smells for hours. I can barely breathe. Do you need me to spell it out for you, or are your nostrils only for smelling food, you glutton? Who knows? It could be your mother's smell that's filling you up to the brim." Collins fired. Shola got angry and threw her phone at him. "You call me glutton when you very know I added weight because of the pregnancy. Wait a minute. Is that what this is all about? Because I am now fat. And you think those girls you're sleeping with outside enjoy your small manhood that looks like an earthworm? Maybe that's why your ex left you. It must have felt like an insect was crawling inside her." Shola fired back. Collins also threw his phone at her. Shola dodged, and the phone hit the television screen, smashing it. "It's not my fault that your coconut is wider than your mouth and you swallow me like Bitcoin. Besides, that thing you call an earthworm put a baby inside you. Would that be the reason you are childless? Maybe down there is too big to hold anything precious." Collins threw a bomb. Boom! Shola got angry and smashed the television to the ground. "How dare you say that to me?" she shouted angrily. Collins looked at her with a smug look. "Have I lied? This is your second marriage and your third miscarriage. Not only have you not learned how to be submissive to your husband, you haven't learned how to hold a baby either. Maybe you should go with your mother and let her teach you in details how she didn't spill your father's seed from her womb." A resounding slap sounded in the room. Shola felt her hand heat up from the hard slap. "I regret the day I met you. You are not human at all," she said, her chest heaving from anger. Collins held his cheek, his fist clenched hard. "You dare slap me?" he said, gritting his teeth. "And I will do it again. What will you do? Beat me? Useless creature. Like how your father, the drug addict, turned your mother into a punching bag and you could only cry helplessly under the table." Shola threw the bomb back. Collins closed his eyes, trying to calm his breath. "I regret ever meeting a worthless woman like you. At least my father didn't leave my mother to sleep with her sister. Your mom must still cry every night in bed. I bet no man can stand your mother's filthy odor. Maybe it's genetic. That's why no man can stay with you too." Shola raised her hand in anger to slap him again, but Collins caught her hand. He raised his hand to smack her across the face, but right then, the door flung open. Collins' mother rushed in and gave Shola a resounding slap across her face. Shola tried to talk, but another slap came before she could. Her ears rang loud in response. A series of slaps followed, and she almost lost her vision. "How dare a good-for-nothing being like you insult my son and me? Have you forgotten your place as a wife? Whatever it is that your husband does or says to you, do you think you're in a position to get angry? This is why I always tell mothers to train their daughters well. But when the mother is uncultured like yours, how can the daughter turn out well?" Shola's mother, who had been in her room upstairs to give her daughter and her husband privacy for their anniversary celebration, heard their arguments and rushed downstairs. She arrived to see the situation had gone out of hand and tried to calm Colin's mother by holding her hand, but she was pushed aside roughly in the struggle. Please don't be angry. I know it's my fault for coming here and causing these disagreements between both of them. Please, let's settle. I was not talking to you, village woman. Colin's mother cut in. I am talking to this irritable thing my son brought home after that stupid shotgun wedding. I knew from the very first day I set my eyes on her that she was bad news. But Collins was blinded by the so-called fickle love. Shola held onto her swollen, bleeding face, wounded by her mother-in-law's ring, and Collins stood in the corner, watching the scene unfold. He covered his nose, grabbed a bottle of perfume, and sprayed it around him, making a show of avoiding his mother-in-law. Shola's mother felt a deep sense of shame. I will leave. I don't want to be a burden, she said quietly. Collins' mother smirked. Good thing you know you're a burden. Take your smelly self out and make sure to take your uncultured and undisciplined daughter with you back to the rotten village you called out from. Shola just couldn't take this anymore. She said enough is enough. She couldn't stand her husband and his mother anymore. She ran upstairs, packed her belongings and her mother's. Despite her mother's attempts to calm her down and beg her to go apologize to her husband and mother-in-law, Shola was resolute. We are leaving and that's final, she said firmly. As they walked out of the door, Shola looked back one last time. She wondered if this was really the end. She realized that fights this time was not like their usual fights where they reconcile afterwards. Maybe Collins was influenced by Chris, or maybe the man she married isn't who she thought it was. Maybe she was the one who handled the situation the wrong way. She doesn't know who is right or wrong. But one thing she was sure of is that this time they had said too much to each other to ever forgive and forget. What are your thoughts on Shola and Collins? Who do you think is at fault? Would they have handled things differently? Have they really said too much to each other to ever reconcile? Or do you think there's more to the story than both of them are letting out? Why do you think Shola's mother smells bad, and do you think there's a solution? Please share your opinions in the comment section below. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, and share this video to your friends and married couples you know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video and bye bye.